Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, we got some Raiders free agent rumors. Find out which silver and black 2026 free agents are going to be playing in their final game up against the Kansas City Chiefs in NFL Week 18 action. I'll also break down which players I could see the silver and black trying to bring back. Overall, though, 25 free agents. We're going to start with the offense. Then we're going to go to the defensive side of the football. And then we're going to wrap this thing up with the special teams players that are set to hit the open market when the new league year begins. If you don't already know, I'm going to be making videos every single day in the year of 2026. You'd have to go all the way back to 2018 for the last time that you didn't get a Raiders Report video. I got commitment to excellence. You will become a smarter Raiders fan watching this program, so make sure you're subscribed. If you don't know, I will be live. Raiders-Chiefs, Week 18. The number one pick is going to be on the line. If you lose this game, you got number one locked in. Thank you so much, Pete Carroll, because honestly, you can make an argument Pete Carroll's the best Raiders head coach that we've had in a long time if we get the number one overall pick. Job's not done yet. Top two pick no matter what we got locked in, but I want the number one. So we're going to start here with offense, and the order that these players are going to go in is based on how much money they are currently making with the Las Vegas Raiders. Kenny Pickett was traded for this offseason. He's going to hit the open market. I'll be real, don't really see him coming back for the Raiders. He's going to get a start with Aidan O'Connell. Last game for the silver and black. For Raheem Mostert, another veteran running back getting up there, 32 years old. He's just too old to bring back on this team. You already got Ashton Jeanty. Don't see him returning. Ian Thomas, another veteran tight end. When you heard earlier in the week Pete Carroll talk about his disconnect with Jon Spytek wanted to build for the future. Pete Carroll wanted to win right now. Bringing back Ian Thomas when you got Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer doesn't make any sense. Dylan Parham, this is one of our starting offensive guards for the Raiders. He's played probably 90% of the snaps this season. I like Parham. The problem is, though, you already drafted Caleb Rogers. You got Charles Grant. I don't really think Parham's going to end up coming back. Tyler Lockett, I saw the picture, man. You're balding. I agree with Josh. It's time to hang it up. It's time to retire. Not returning for the silver and black. Stone Forsythe was signed earlier this season when Colton Miller ended up going down and on IR. It's another Pete Carroll guy. He's given up, I want to say, 12-plus sacks this season. He will not be returning to the Raiders. Zamir White, Zeus. If you want to know what Zeus feels like in terms of that electrocution, it's a little, that's what the Zeus shock is. Not going to be coming back. He was drafted by the McDaniels regime. The fact that we have Ashton Jeanty, there's no need to bring back Zamir, who played in his very first game last week since Week 5. Jordan Meredith at center, he's been somebody that's been the starting center for the Raiders this season. I personally think he's a better overall offensive guard, but it's not going to cost a lot of money to bring him back. Another player that I don't think would be a lot of money to bring back, Alex Bachman, has done a really good job finding his way on rosters because he's somebody that doesn't really get a lot of credit. Good special teams player, good slot receiver. I do think that there is a chance. I would give Bachman a 25% chance of him coming back. And then Will Putnam. Will Putnam is really just a 7th, 8th guard. Offensive lineman, can play a little bit of backup center as well. But right now, you're looking at 10 free agents for the Raiders on the offensive side of the football. The pinned comment on today's show is going to be, if you could bring back one of these players on the offensive side of the football, who would it be? And you're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. The one offensive player that the Raiders should re-sign. The player that I'm going to go with here is Jordan Meredith. And I want to invest a lot of money in the trenches this upcoming offseason. And I know that we already have Caleb Rogers, but because we are losing Dylan Parham, I don't see Parham returning. Somebody's going to pay him $8, $9, $10 million. That's not going to be us because we drafted Caleb Rogers. What I also would do, though, is I would go out and I would try to get Jordan Meredith. Meredith will be cheaper than Parham, and if you end up putting Meredith at offensive guard and you either allow JPJ to play center or you go out and you sign a guy like Tyler Lindenbaum, that helps out the trenches. Because let's face it, we need to upgrade our trenches as much as humanly possible this offseason. The defensive side of the football is going to be coming up here next on the Raiders Report. Before we get into that, though, huge shout-out to today's sponsor, PrizePicks. And I love PrizePicks. I think y'all love PrizePicks. And I know starting a new routine can be difficult. Making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on PrizePicks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops. And PrizePicks lets you take control. PrizePicks puts their users first. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks accepts most major payment methods, making deposits into your account quick and easy this sports season. Join millions of users. Sign up for America's #1 fantasy sports app out there, which now is available in all 50 states. My lineup that I'm going to be rolling with is going to be a power play, $5 to pay 30. If you're like sitting there going, Mitch, why would I want to watch the Raiders and Chiefs game? I think the only way you could answer that question is if the Raiders have the #1 overall pick locked in, which is possible before kickoff here. But the other reason why you should watch, it gives you something to do, and it gives you something to root for. That's personally why I love PrizePicks. I did end up going with the more on Travis Kelce. It's going to be his final game of his career, at least. Holy heck, I hope so. And then if the Raiders do score a touchdown, give me the Ashton Genty more on that one. So download the PrizePicks app today. The link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Make sure that you use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Let's now go to the defensive side of the football. Malcolm Koonce is the big name on here. If Malcolm's willing to come back to this team for like $6 million, $5 million, then there's a better chance of bringing him back. If another team goes out and tries to pay him big-time money, he will not be returning. But you got to give Malcolm a little bit of credit. He has looked a lot better over the past few weeks of this season. You can tell that ACL is definitely getting healthier. But to me, I would say it's a coin flip on whether or not the Raiders bring back Malcolm. For Eric Stokes, he's been one of our bright spots, I would say, on the defensive side of the football. 1 year, $4 million deal this past season. Still a young player. If I'm the Raiders, I'm trying to bring back Mr. Stokes. Elandon Roberts, a veteran linebacker. You saw this offseason the Raiders bring in tons of veteran linebackers. I want to see Tommy Eichenberg get some more work, and I believe Elandon Roberts will not be returning next season. Tristin McCollum, another safety, really just a special teams player. Don't see him returning to the Raiders. Lonnie Johnson Jr. has been battling that injury from the beginning of the season. If you use Johnson the right way, make him a special teams player. If you want him to be an everyday starter at safety, it's just not going to work out. Though I would say there is a coin flip's chance that Johnson returns because he has earned a lot of respect in that locker room, and a lot of people in that front office like him because of the mentality he put forth when he got placed on IR. I heard that from a few sources. Terrell Edmunds, safety, really just the bottom of the roster guy. I don't see him returning. Jamal Adams, that linebacker, was a Pete Carroll signing, and I know he's done a lot of good for this team, but because he's a Pete Carroll guy, I don't see Jamal Adams returning. Darnay Holmes, Christ, he better not return. Devin White was signed to a 1-year deal. Depending on who you listen to, you might think Devin White's having a really good year. I'll sit up here and I'll continuously say Devin White is the worst starting linebacker in the National Football League, and every single coverage metric, every single missed tackle metric ends up proving it. I don't know if he's going to come back because it is a John Spytek guy. I would give Devin White returning probably about a 10% chance. For Jon Rhattigan, special teams player, linebacker, Pete Carroll guy, he won't be returning to the Raiders. Thomas Booker, let me be very clear. Thomas Booker better be freaking back next season. I know that the Raiders traded away Ja'Cory Bennett. I think it was the right trade at the time because of the whole Christian Wilkins situation. But if you traded away a young player in Ja'Cory Bennett at the cornerback position, you better freaking bring back Thomas Booker because we still need a lot of extra help on the interior. Not going to be a starter, but you got to figure out a way to bring him back. Kyu Blu Kelly, cornerback. Really, really hope not. Again, young player. He's had a lot of opportunities. Pete Carroll's probably said he's played well. Finished the season on the IR. Don't see Kyu Blu Kelly returning. Charles Snowden at defensive end. This has been another player that is well liked in the locker room. I'm kind of shocked he wasn't suspended this season for his whole DUI incident that he had last year. If it was up to me, I wouldn't bring back Charles Snowden, but I do know he is a player that a lot of guys do like and appreciate inside of that locker room. So out of all those defensive free agents, which defensive free agent should the Raiders prioritize and try to bring back? You're about to get in with another YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I'm going to tell you the top 4 free agents that the Raiders should bring back. Coming in here at number 1, it's Eric Stokes. I would say actually out of all the players that I talk about on today's show, the number 1 priority is Stokes, though I would bring him back on a $7 to $8 million deal, maybe like 3 years, $24 million, 2 years of that guaranteed. If he gets $11, $12 million, you can't bring him back. Thomas Booker, somebody you got to bring back again because you traded away Ja'Cory Bennett. Coming in here at number 3, Malcolm Koonce. It depends what the price tag is. I am willing to be somewhere around $5 to $6 million for Malcolm on a $1 to $2 million deal. If he wants more than that, and if another team's willing to pay him more, I'm not going to bring him back because we clearly overpaid him this past year. And then coming in here at number 4, Lonnie Johnson Jr. It is important to have guys that you can rely on in the secondary if you just need a breather. He does play the run okay, but then also special teams is important. Before we get out of here, 2 more spots. Daniel Carlson, he's been the Raiders' place kicker since, oh my Lord, what? Probably the last, I feel like 5 years, because I remember when Daniel was cut by the Minnesota Vikings. He missed 3 field goals. The Raiders ended up bringing him in. But Daniel, final year his deal, I don't see him coming back. Jacob Bobenmoyer, long snapper, I have no idea. I'm going to be real. I have no idea whether or not they bring back the long snapper. Luckily, though, A.J. Cole, he's still good. I know the Raiders kind of redid a lot of their contracts with the special teams unit. You got to remind yourself, A.J. Cole was given a big-time extension. But overall, 25 free agents. And I would say 90% of the players that I just discussed will not be returning to the Raiders, meaning most guys will be playing their final game for the Raiders this week against the Chiefs.